Uh, is it bad that I felt that we were kind of poking our heads in where it didn't really
No,
belong?
no, don't feel bad at all. That's how you feel about it.
God.
That's how you feel about it. I mean, I'm not, as a GM, I have to be completely neutral with that. You know, your decisions as a group is your decisions, and we just play it out, right?
Yeah.
But if you in and out of character are just like, oh man, we should have just left this fucking woman alone, right?
Yeah, exactly. She's just minding
That's
her
your
own
opinion.
goddamn business.
That's your opinion, right?
Ah.
And you're completely free to it, right? Just as the other guys have their opinions and all that good stuff. So as long as you're still having fun, I guess that's the important thing, right? But
Yep.
I mean, if you ever get frustrated with anything, let me know, right? Because everything is a group endeavor, but the key is fun, right? So even if your friends stick their heads into something and you're not like, oh, I'm not 100% about this, as long as it ends up being fun, at least a little bit for you, hopefully it's worth it.
Yeah, I liked the whole infiltration scene. It was good.
Yeah, that was cool. You did a good job.
Thank you.
Except for leaving the hot rock in your backpack for
Yeah, I just
You
didn't.
got
I
you gotta
didn't
be
make the
careful.
fucking connection.
You gotta be careful with me, man. I am sneaky. Not
Yeah, you
sneaky, but
sneaky bat.
I know I just think of everything. Well, no, I can't. I don't think of everything, as you can tell. Sometimes I can't antiquate. Like, she jiggles the door. I mean, the doorknob. Blah, blah, blah.
She jiggles up and down.
But I do like to think of consequences of actions quite a
Yeah,
bit. So,
it was fucking good.
good.
My gosh. So,
Mm-hmm.
I basically shit myself when
Oh.
Scooter's like, yeah, some refugees told us about it. I'm like, no, don't bring the refugees into this.
No. Well, it didn't go horrible, but Squeeze Gyro
Oh,
thinks he's incompetent. Al's incompetent.
yeah, it was starting to turn sour right quick.
Mm-hmm. Well, when when we say there's some refugees who were spying, and he's like, "What?" Maybe he wants to know,
Yeah.
and it's true. Maybe he doesn't think it's a threat, right? Maybe he believes that. Yeah, it makes sense that the refugees were spying. That means they're crafty. That means they're survivors. Maybe they're people I want to have around me.
Yeah, I mean he's trying to rebuild goddamn
Exactly. And
yeah.
no, he's just one guy. He's not going to know everything, right?
Yeah,
So maybe he needs people with their ears to the ground. So people always
exactly.
assume it's malevolent, but no, he's just doing what a leader wants to do.
Hello.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
mean
He
like I
also
said,
could be
he's
completely evil, but I
yeah,
hope I do. You never know.
from what we gathered, he's not really, that evil unless you
He's not
fucking
Prozac.
cross him.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Well, but you can say that for anybody.
Just like Al.
Hmm. Okay, so you guys are here. So let's do a random event.
Okay.
Roll
Who
me
wants
a,
to roll?
roll me a D100. Whomever.
Dibs.
Okay,
You got
Dibs.
got it.
We believe in you.
51.
Oh no, not that number.
51.
All the numbers to land on.
I know,
Why?
right? We never should have let you
Fif-
roll.
Too bad. I fucking called it.
Okay. Give me a moment. I have to think of the right context for this. Ooh. Because you guys hit something that I wanted you guys to hit, but I never, I made this everything. I was excited about, right? But I kind of wanted this to happen before you hit space, and you just hit it. It makes me excited, but I have to frame it properly. So give me just a couple minutes. Let me just step away from the computer for a second so I can think of a good scene to set this up in. If that works for you guys?
That is perfect.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Cool.
I can mix my ice cream.
I have something like ice cream, but it's a lot more vegetable-y.
My family thinks I'm crazy because I don't like whenever I get ice cream, I always kind of like whip it so that it's very soft, almost like frozen yogurt.
Soft serve.
Yeah, like soft serve. I basically like whip it until it's almost like soft serve creamy because I just like it that way. And my family always like, if we go, you go to the restaurants and they'll serve ice cream for dessert or something. Like they'll always look at me because everyone starts eating their ice cream and I just start like whipping it with my spoon, which is hard, by the way. It takes time. Ice cream is not easy to mix.
Like at home, you can
So,
easily do that, but
You take ice cream and you reduce it back to its normal cream with the whipping
it's
motion.
It's still frozen. It's
Yeah.
like soft serve yogurt.
How do you physics?
Quite well, actually. No.
it's kind of like
What?
breaking up the ice cream so it's not really like a mass. It starts kind of like being sort of partially melted, but not really at all.
Oh, Squee,
Like a milkshake. There you
did
go.
Yeah,
did
like a
you
thick
see
milkshake.
my messages in the Rifts stuff?
Recent?
Yeah, about my monitors.
Oh yes, I did.
Okay.
I did see that.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, it's great.
So
I
monitors
upgraded-
plural, 2 of them. That's nice.
Yeah, both of them kind of, went.
As
So,
they do.
Yeah, my dad and I went down to Kahului, which is like a half an hour, 45-minute drive away to try and get a really belated birthday present for me. And they're awesome.
I can imagine. I found the trickiest thing. Did you get the same brand monitor for both?
Yeah, I
Okay.
got the same exact monitor. for
Then
both.
you don't have to deal with my issues. Like my tricky problem is that both my monitors are completely different brands,
Yeah,
and
that's,
one of them's a bit higher quality than the other. So like when I move something from one screen to the other, the colors shift a lot.
yeah. That's why I didn't want to have to mess around with constant resolution changes and color changes and fuck it. Same thing twice. Brr.
By the way, Inferno, here's your e-pass back.
Huh?
Inferno? Oh, I thought I came back. Oh,
No.
Maybe he did.
get out here, Shia LaBeouf.
I played Leviathan.
Maybe.
That was actually pretty good.
Leviathan.
The DLC for Mass Effect 3.
What
One
is
of the
Leviathan?
DLCs. Yeah, one of the DLCs for Mass Effect 3. It is actually much more than I expected it to be. Like, more put together. It was pretty meaty. I think overall it took about 3 hours or so, which is pretty good. Yeah, I was impressed. The story left one big thing where I'm kind of scratching my head a bit about, but, they had to work with what they had. It makes the original ending even worse, but, yeah. It's fine. But overall, it was a pretty good DLC. I still have to play the others, so I'm interested in playing those too.
Ooh.
And Inferno got me watching Game of Thrones again, the bastard.
Yeah, that's why I was like, so I kept confusing the name because there is a character on Game of Thrones called Brienne, but Joffrey is not the prince's name.
No, it's not.
Jasper, so
No,
it can't be another Game of Thrones character.
'cause
Son of a bitch!
We were
What
talking,
the hell is going on?
We were talking, and I was talking about how much I liked it, but that it seemed like it was too grim. Like everyone's dying, and no one's the bad guy, and all that. And then he's
Dude.
like, it's really not that bad. You keep watching, and sure, a lot of good guys get trashed, but a lot of evil people get trashed too, and it kind of evens out. And I was like, all right, I'll start watching again.
Where are you? Did you start watching
midway
the
through
newest season?
season 3? Is where I am
Okay,
right now.
and the newest season was season 4, I think.
5.
5. Okay.
I think their season 5 is done. I think season 5 may be done actually.
Oh yeah, it is. It was on then off.
They're all like 10 episodes, right?
Yeah, I think so.
What did I think Mia was? I thought she was one of those no-nosed ladies.
She was.
Yeah.
And the magic spell could have been anything.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I just felt we were kind of poking our noses in where it didn't belong.
Wait, but
In
there's
that
a
whole
freaking
thing.
like queen that's like
So
So Burn, let me ask you
One.
this. Let's say a man murders 3 people, and we suspect that maybe he did, but we don't really have proof to do it. If we research this or investigate it, are we sticking our noses where they don't belong?
were we asked to investigate?
Is that let's say we weren't. Let's say there is a guy who murdered teenagers, and we weren't asked to investigate this. If we try to determine whether or not he did that, you feel like we're sticking our nose. And it's a serious question. You feel like we're sticking our nose where they don't
here's
belong.
the thing. Here's the thing. We did that in oh God, New Laszlo, and it blew up in our goddamn faces horribly.
How?
You remember
Yes.
that?
No, I don't.
The time
Yeah.
where we talked to that one armored dude and that we
Yeah,
got the
Cyber Knight.
shapeshifter out
Yeah.
and we stopped the trade.
With Time Pearson. If we had just gone to the Cyber Knight, he would have done all of that stuff himself. That's what he said. That's what we are supposed to go to the law enforcement and let them do their jobs.
The law enforcement we couldn't trust at the time. Because we had valid reasons to believe they were corrupt.
We had a direct name to a person of
Yes.
the law enforcement that they were directly involved.
So you're saying that our mistake was not disbelieving the information your character got us and should have just gone to them anyway.
Look, in this situation, I felt that we should not have done this. That we were poking our noses into this situation that
Okay,
I
I'm
understand.
ready. Oh, sorry.
No, I understand that those are your feelings. I just the I guess where we would have to agree to disagree was that if she was trying to murder that queen or anyone really, yes, are we sticking our noses where they don't belong? That depends on your view of justice, I suppose. Yes, in a way, we are sticking our noses where no one asked us, but no one asked
But-
them to
okay,
hurt the
so-
people either. So
So we're going to go from countryside to countryside to solve everybody's problems?
Oh, hold up a second. Inferno, the DM referee, is going to stick his nose in here for a moment. I like this conversation. We should continue it after this session's over.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can
You're
give that. I go
back.
for that. Yeah.
we got
We'll have this conversation about right, wrong, meddling, not meddling, the whole thing. But the important thing is that I have the scene in mind now. Sorry, I had to get some prep work. Really, I just kind of put down an idea, and I had to form it in my head, and now I have. So, we good?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you resolve your 51. So this is going to happen in between you spreading Elizabeth's ashes and arriving in Greencastle. This will happen probably about, I would say, a few days after spreading Elizabeth's ashes as you start heading down to the southeast. Snow has begun to fall, but thankfully it's right now in the situation where you're in is that it is a very light dusting of snow, but enough to cover the forest and the fields that you travel. As you travel, however, you come across a strange set of tracks. Most monsters, beasts, and other such things leave footprints, obviously, in the snow. Vehicles, too. You've come across these a few times. But this is the very first time you've come across this situation where it seems that the footprints, it's of several. One seems to be that in the shape of a regular human or humanoid creature in body armor. But the other 3 sets of footprints, if that's what you can call them, don't look like impressions in the snow, and it looks like the snow itself has been melted in large chunks, flanking this individual. Where you are, you're able to spot it from the behemoth, and if you've chosen to investigate a little bit closer, you can see from both vantage points, from the ground and from up on the behemoth itself, that the footprints lead further south into the woods, into into a section of rough, thicketed woods nearby. Do you choose to investigate, or you just keep on going?
I know Patrick would be curious.
Okay.
Al would be curious enough to certainly indulge Patrick's curiosity. That doesn't
Okay.
make sense, but you know what I mean.
Gotcha. And Tom, are you cool with the whole investigation?
Sure.
Sure. Great. The tracks are easy to find. A blind person could do so. And weaving the behemoth is through the trees is a little bit trickier. You definitely hear the cracks and the crass. You hit a few branches and some smaller trees. Doesn't do any damage, but it's definitely not the most stealth approach. But that's fine, because it doesn't take long for you to meet up with these individuals who seem to have at least paused to investigate who was following them, or maybe they were just stopping because they're planning on breaking camp. But you see a familiar sight of 3 fire elementals and a certain African American man in jet black body armor by the name of Ver.
Buddy.
And obviously the first seeing the behemoth at first, he is wary, but seeing familiar faces emerge definitely colors the situation. The fire elementals nearby, Ver simply says, "Older brothers, these are friends of the flame." And with that, their attitude towards you is incredibly different. Instead of being hostile or glaring towards you, they actually bend and bow and make way and try to keep you warm and comfortable. As he starts the conversation, big grin. This man, when you first met him, of course, was always stoic. But he is incredibly happy to see you. He says, "I had always hoped that I would have seen you again, but I didn't realize it would be now at this moment. I suppose nothing comes when it's expected."
I just
is
realized Patrick's
good
going to be the
to
only
see you
one he recognizes.
Yes, and Mila.
Hey, right.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
Yes.
How have you been?
I have been doing much better. When we left, I was unsure, and I decided to travel to find more of my big brothers who were lost on this world. I have found a few, as you can see, and I've had a few happenstances, some good, some positive, but all in all, safe. Right now, I must warn you, you are on the fringes of what is known as the magic zone, and I would encourage you not to go much further to the south and the west. There are some areas that might not serve you well, hostile, evil places. I am sorry, Patrick and Mila, names I will never forget. I have not met your friends. Greetings, I am Ver. And you travel with the Friends of the Flame, great people who have done amazing things to help me and my bigger brothers.
Al's going to grin.
Yes.
Ver, we've met before.
She's
I
gonna go, oh yeah.
I I apologize. I don't remember you.
It's fine. I'm Al. I've just been through some changes.
You understand how hard it is for me to believe this, he says.
Al
It's,
nods. He says, "No, I do understand." That's Tom too.
Tom's gonna wave.
There is no need to don disguises with me. I am a trusted friend. You may, dispel them as you wish.
Al tugs on his ear and says, "Not a disguise, I'm afraid."
Oh, so you were
we've-
in disguises when you met me. These are your true forms. I understand as one who is not native to this earth why you would take such precautions, but I have dealt with much further more alien beings than yourself.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah. Let's go
Yeah.
with that.
Well, true voice to true face. Come, break bread. Talk with me. It has been a long while.
Al looks at Tom and shrugs.
But
It'll
before-
be easier this way.
Yeah. He nods.
he says, but before we converse,
Hmm?
I am very happy that you have come to me during this time. I remember the words I said to you, which was, I don't know how or when, but if our paths ever cross, you would have a great ally. And I meant those. I have something here that I think, that I insist that you have. Will you accept my gift?
Of course.
Well, of course, we're friends. Why would we? We would never think to refuse.
He goes, I'm not too sure. I guess I'm not used to speaking with others of my origins. Speaking with my big brothers is a little bit more blunt and formal, you understand. Or I guess you don't, which is why I needed to explain. And he chuckles. And he goes over to his pack that he cast on the ground. And he takes out a strange-ish implement. Imagine a club, a wooden spiked club made of thick black wood. The wood itself was probably some sort of sturdy pine or maple, but it's been burnt black. Yet, it still is strong. It's some sort of magical fire. It's been cast into it and hardening it, right? But the base of the, I guess you could say the handle of the club isn't just a simple handle that you wrap your hand around. Instead, it twists in a strange serpentine manner, as if one is supposed to push their hand or their arm into it to wear the club as a bracer, and then have it, the actual club part extend from the hand. So almost like a club that you wear rather than hold. Does that make sense to you guys?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like a guitar, in a sense.
In a sense, yes.
Yeah.
And as mentioned, it seemed to be made of a blackened wood. And with an evocation that Ver demonstrates, which says, the invocation is simply light bringer, fire bringer. From the tip of the club, a fiery column, a blade of fiery light shoots from the tip of the club. And just being nearby it, you can sense its power and energy. This is a magic weapon called Witchfire. Ver explains that he managed to get this implement, to retrieve this implement from a witch that was operating here in the magic zone. She had summoned one of the fire elementals to his side to be her slave. And despite Ver's attempts at diplomacy, explaining to her how morally wrong it was to bind the creature to the earth, she was fed up with the fire warlock and she attacked him, Clearly, in self-defense, he vanquished her, along with the assistance of his older brothers and the soon-to-be freed fire elemental, and in her possession was this. It is a magic weapon that by itself, the club, actually does mega damage. It does 2d6 mega damage, and it does double damage against vampires, witches, and witchlings. I'm going to copy and paste these stats for you, but just so you know. It can also take about 400 mega damage worth of damage on the club itself before it is completely destroyed. And every day, after a period of 24 hours, all that 400 mega damage is regenerated.
Whoa.
It has a special ability, as Ver demonstrates. Once per 24-hour period, for a duration of 5 minutes, this light blade can be invoked, causing that column, that blade of light, to shoot from the top of the club, and it does 1d4 times 10 plus 8 mega damage. And that also does double damage to vampires, witches, and witchlings.
Holy piss.
Yeah. Out of character, what you guys did for Ver was exceptional. It was a really fun arc, and he didn't have anything to give you at the time. And in the back of my mind, I always thought, they'll come across him. I thought of coming across him in a combat situation would be fun, but it's getting a little late during the night, so I decided to have just be a passive encounter. But regardless, the point is that he would have adventures of his own, and he would give to you guys something powerful, something relevant that he would want to give to you as a gift, as a thank you for what you did. So, there you go.
Aw, Ver.
Yeah.
Ver is a real homie.
Ver is a homie, that's for sure. A lifelong ally.
Such a bro.
I think. Okay, now you've pissed me off. Just kidding.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Who wants the
Okay.
magic fire log?
Don't call it a log.
No.
Not a log.
Who wants it? It would be very difficult for Al to wield this thing in power armor, so I think he would be more than up for someone else carrying it.
You can also just add it to group loot and
Yep,
see
that's
who
true,
wants it at that point.
Let's add it for now.
Sure.
Here,
I
let me
know
just
that
give you what the-
Patrick's gonna want it.
Patrick want to freaking toy around with it for a bit. I can definitely tell you that.
All right.
That is true. It's a weapon that he can actually set on fire himself, unlike the poor sword that he was so disappointed about.
Well, he will be able to actually use the sword eventually. Once you
It's
guys
true.
finish your
That is
thing.
true. I was just thinking about how disappointed Patrick got when he tried swinging it around and
Yeah.
it did catch on fire. Patrick, you'll be able to
And?
do that soon.
And eventually, I will be able to teach you possibly at least the basics of sword.
All right, so I'm going to go into the Riffs group loot, and I'm going to put it as the first entry of the group items under
Alright, cool.
weapons. Whoa, God, as it's all bolded and underlined and shit. Anywho. Oh, too small. Just right. Oh.
I can do it.
No, let me do it. No, just kidding. I should worry about, I don't know, DMing maybe? Who'd have
Maybe.
thought? All right. So, what do you guys want to talk to Ver about? You would spend as much time as you like with him, trading stories. Is there anything specific that you wanted to talk to him about? Or do we want to just narratively say, you guys talked the night away type of thing? Trading stories of what you did? Who you saw?
What was our last brand adventure?
Oh my God.
Let's
Max
see.
Berries.
Oh yeah. We can talk about the cave where this would have been extremely useful in.
Yeah,
Um,
actually.
I'll probably bring up the conversation of that if you want to role play.
Sure, yeah, let's roleplay it.
While it is Patrick's turn to look at it and whatnot, he's going to inspect it closely, not really putting it on at the moment. He goes, "This would have been so useful." We come across some beings previously who seem to come back to life after their death and seem to be invulnerable to anything except for fire.
Well, it is a powerful element. This I know from firsthand. Very few things can withstand the heat. But tell me more of these creatures. And you could probably give what did they look like? So I know in case I ever come across them, or I can teach others to use fire against them.
Oh my gosh. So, can I remember their description? If I remember correctly, shoot, how do I describe them?
I don't know. Want a picture? I'll show you a picture.
Yeah, all of a
and
sudden
you
I'm
can
drawing a
describe from the
blank too.
picture.
Like,
Really?
It's like
Yeah.
I imagine
They're
them
Perry.
being kind of short.
Perry, Max Perry.
yeah, there we go. I don't know why I was thinking crab people for some reason.
That's awful.
I'm sorry.
You're awful.
Very racist thought of me, and I apologize.
Yep.
My gosh, it's still hard to describe that thing.
You don't have to if you find it distressing.
Oh no.
Just figured it'd be fun for roleplay.
Think of a creature that has almost like a body of a kind of like a pill beetle, face of a. Well, let me start out. It actually has arms and legs, and a
Okay.
head, and it looks much different than a person or.
An animal versus trying to help.
Yes. Definitely beast-like. It almost looks like it has armor on, even though it's just his body. Oh.
Al pipes up. He says they have yellow blood, and if you kill one, the yellow blood will start to crystallize. And when it crystallizes is when they get back up.
That
Oh,
is
I took a picture of it.
perfect. Did you?
Yes, I
Yeah.
did.
Oh, you
Specifically
totally
before
did.
and after.
You did. That's right. Well, that's perfect. Ver can understand that. He goes home. They are not a pretty species.
They smile.
No.
Hmm. Where did you find them?
Oh, way out.
Along
East.
the East Coast, yeah. Hmm. Is she?
Actually, this is a bit embarrassing. This is our first time crossing the magic
The magic zone?
zone.
Mm-hmm.
Is would you know a more safe path? Maybe ones that aren't, as you say, evil.
Yes. I will give you guidance on to where to head next. I have traveled around this area for a little while now, so I'm relatively familiar to it. Do you know much about the magic zone?
I know. I know the creatures. I know many creatures that live within here, and I know that they, for more simplicity, it's more powerful creatures are found usually in this area than any of the other ones.
Yes. They're attracted not only to the ley lines that run throughout this area, and the magicians and wizards and spellcasters who like to frequent and tap into it, but much of the time, Denzians, members of the Federation of Magic, summon them or evoke them. Some of the wiser ones realize they cannot be controlled, but some of the foolish or greedy think that they are in charge, and they truly are not. Hence, these beings of power run free. It is why it is so dangerous. Although not everything here in the magic zone is evil or wishes to kill you. But as much as one can say in this strange, shattered world that we live, there's a higher probability of danger.
Yes. I knew a certain path that it would be at least easy to hide in, but I think it would be better to just travel a safer path.
I will guide you. In fact, probably then, Ver would very gladly guide you out of the magic zone and give you an idea of a more efficient way to get past the Appalachian Mountains.
Well, fantastic.
Yeah. Fantastic. Anyways, continuing on with the roleplay.
Okay. Let's see. Not quite sure if you want to bring up the assassination thing.
It's up to you.
What about you guys?
As far as like, what do we want to talk about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Subjects.
No, nothing that comes to my mind that I'd want to ask him directly or anything like that. Just we could just say that I'm fine. Just saying like we shared a meal.
Yeah,
an
swap
hour.
tales.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I just want, if you guys, in-game or out-of-game, are curious about any regions or anything like that, this is a good way to do so. Or, once again, narratively speaking, if you ever have questions about magic or whatever, or you roll a really good skill check, we can always touch back to the point of Ver mentioning this or Ver mentioning that, right? Really, I kind of just, the reason why when you rolled this result, I really was glad it happened, because it's one of two interactions that I'm very hopeful for that you guys come across before you actually hit space. Because, like you said, who knows when you're coming back, right?
Yeah.
And Ver mentioned he was going to be going down into the magic zone, and you do, on your path down to where you need to go, you do cross the northeastern region of it. I'm like, oh, this is a perfect opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to put it in. I'm really glad you guys rolled it. So
We could mention we met Erin Tarn, if he knows her.
he doesn't.
Ooh.
He actually doesn't know who Erin Tarn is.
Oh,
He has no clue.
Mm.
shame.
Okay.
Hey,
He lived.
educate him.
First of all, he lived in a burning wood for like who knows how long.
Yeah.
Secondly, not everyone knows who Erin Tarn is. She's not that famous. She's pretty famous, but not super famous that everyone,
No.
comes out of the womb knowing who she is.
Right, no, I was joking. I mean, Al only knew of her from wanted posters, basically, so...
Pretty much, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I'm glad we got to meet him again, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, unless you guys have any other subjects or anything like that, I think we can call that a scene and call this a session.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
I think this is good.
Groovy.
I guess before we
Oh, yeah.
go, where Burn, I guess specifically, because I don't feel strongly one way or the other, and
Oh,
of course,
I'm biased.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
have no
so you're
preference
biased.
either,
How about
so-
you, Squee? Are you
Yes.
biased?
No, I am
You're
not
both-
biased. I have no preference to which one.
All right, let's go with biasm. Let's do
Yes,
this.
let's do biasm.
So, oh, you mean you want to go for next session, we're going to start off with going to the ruins of Aberdeen.
Yeah.
Okay,
Let's go towards that direction.
great.
Yeah.
No problem. I
Gonna be
haven't.
awesome.
I'm gonna set the scene to get you guys right there, right? Because let's not mince words. We remember because we're in this narrative time space, right? So we don't have to roleplay every fucking hour just traveling there, right? So
Yes.
Do we want to actually... Okay, so how much time do we want to spend in Greencastle?
the Greencastle region. Yeah.
Yeah, because what we could do is we could say that the time spent in Greencastle was like 3 weeks, and it'll take about a week to get to the ruins of Aberdeen. So we've burned 2 months if we want.
You
to
burned
go.
3 months actually.
Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
I'm.
It took 2 months total to get you to Greencastle traveling.
Oh,
I'm fine doing that
shit.
anyway. I really don't. I personally don't mind how the time is divided up because I
Yeah.
assume we'll just kind of get everything done and.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Okay, well, if we're going to burn 3 months, we need food.
Well, we could just Inferno. If you could just like let us know what a good price to knock off our credits would be.
Yeah, see, here's the thing. We'll touch that. I gotta think about it for a moment.
Yeah, we can
Just
touch that at
because
the beginning.
Greencastle is not going to be a great place for food because they're under a rationing system.
Yeah.
So
You'll
Fur,
probably have to
how's
do
your
the
food
Flint.
supply?
No. I'm just saying that's Greencastle. That's not to say Flint or Fenton. In
Yeah, that is
fact,
true.
you know what? In fact, I'm gonna say that when you were in Fenton,
Mhm.
when you were in Fenton to apologize to Lord Fromeline, or I mean, touch base with Lord Fromeline, we'll say that's when you restocked for some food. So at the beginning of next session, I'll let you know how much credits you would need to spend to get you going for the final 6-month period. Like for the
Okay.
last 3 months, okay?
Yeah.
And then and they'll take trade credits. They prefer, trading for items, but they'll take credits, especially now that Lord Fromeline is not pissed off at you completely.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll say that. So that resolves our situation. So we'll be
Yes.
good.
All right, and then next session we'll start going after the ruins of Aberdeen.
Aberdeen
Aberdeen.
Yes.
Yay.
with a B.